Let's start with breaking news coming in. Israeli military says it has completed its series of overnight strikes in the heart of Tehran. Dozens of military targets in Iran were hit, including military industrial sites for missile production and the SPAN headquarters for research and development of the nuclear weapons project. It said that more than 60 Air Force 5 jets attacked the targets with precise intelligence guidance from the intelligence branch using approximately 120 munitions. Well, this is the latest that we are getting reiterating for our viewers. Once again, Israeli military says it has completed a series of overnight strikes in the heart of Iran. Dozens of military targets in Iran were hit, including the military, industrial, for missile production and the SPAN headquarters for research and development of the nuclear weapons project. It has said that more than 60 Air Force fighter jets attacked the targets with precise intelligence guidance from the intelligence branch using approximately 120 munitions. We are now being joined by Peter Nick from Washington, D.C. He is a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. Thank you so much, Mr. Nick, for joining us on the broadcast. Glad to be with you. So now, while the primary goal of Operation Rising Lion has been to eliminate the existential threat that Iran's nuclear capability poses to Israel, Netanyahu said that regime change could be a possible result of the operation, but it's not the main objective, and has categorically reiterated his claim that Israel will keep going on for as long as it takes. Now, it's pertinent to ask just how long can Israel realistically sustain its offensive against Iran at this point? We can't know that for certain because we don't know how many missiles Iran actually has. At the beginning of the war, the estimate was they had between 2,000 and 1,300 missiles that could strike Israel. We know they've shot off at least 300 or 400 already. Israel has destroyed some of their launchers and has destroyed some of the missiles. We don't know how many, and Israel has a finite amount of interceptors. So if Iran has more missiles than Israel has interceptors, this war could go on for quite some time. You know, the war between Iran and Iraq went in the 1980s, went on for almost a decade. So even though the West was supporting Iraq against Iran, throughout most of that war, the Iranians held out, continued fighting, continued resisting, lost hundreds of thousands of men in the process, but did not want to quit. So Iran is staying. Iran is a nation of 92 million people. It's a proud nation. It's a well-armed nation and a capable nation that has some important allies. So it's not clear that this is going to be an easy victory for Israel, although Israel certainly has the upper hand because they've got air superiority and they are striking Iran with impunity. Right, Mr. Kanik? And having said that, now we know that as Trump is still weighing on whether to overtly join the conflict or not, America's closest highlight, Britain is almost certain to be affected in more ways than one by the trajectory that the conflict could take in West Asia going forward. Now, if Trump does decide to commit U.S. forces to help Israel eliminate Iran's nuclear program, in what capacity could the UK get involved? The UK? Well, the UK has been really creating trouble in the Middle East for more than a century now, so the UK could be involved in a disruptive way in the region. Have to remember that the Sykes-Picot Treaty back a long time ago during World War I really divided up the region in a way that made many of these wars there and conflicts almost inevitable. Then the Balfour Declarations. The British have always played a very destabilizing, destructive role in the region. The British have military assets. Even though the British public does not want Britain to get involved, the American public does not want the United States to get involved. Even a majority of Republicans don't want the United States to get involved. So, there's a lot that they can do, but they will probably not get directly involved unless the United States does. Right. Mr. Snick, and I'd like to get your assessment on another pressing matter. Now that a New York Times report has cited U.S. intelligence officials warning that Iran may move towards building a nuclear bomb if Washington targets its uranium enrichment facilities, all of Israel assassinates Iran's supreme leader. So now with Iran also threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the conflict seems to be shutting on thin ice. An Operation Rising Lion may end up provoking exactly the fallout that it had probably hoped to prevent. What direction are we heading in from here? There was no need to start this war in the first place. U.S. intelligence was saying that Iran does not have a nuclear program. U.S. intelligence says that Iran gave up its nuclear program back in 2003 and has never restarted it. Netanyahu said this is an Iran pose an existential threat. They were days away from getting a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu's been saying one version of this or another since 1992. So we've seen these lies. We saw how the United States got lied into the Iraq War in 2003. We saw how the United States got lied into the Vietnam War. Now the United States is on the verge of getting lied into another war. So this is a very, very dangerous, precarious situation that could create just what they say they are trying to avoid. It's very likely that the IRA Iranians are going to decide they're going to look at what happened in 2003 with North Korea and Iraq. North Korea said the one mistake that the Iraqis made was not to have nuclear weapons. That if they had nuclear weapons, the United States could never have invaded. And we look at that, and North Korea has managed to survive because it has nuclear weapons. So it would be logical, although I think will be disastrous, for the Iranian leadership to rush as fast as it can for a nuclear bomb. And even if there's regime change, even if the ayatollahs are overthrown, there's no guarantee that whoever replaces them won't even be more hardliners and more insistent on developing a bomb. Cause the lesson they're going to draw was that they didn't have what was necessary to preempt the Israelis and maybe the United States from coming in. So there's a real possibility that Iran could decide to go for a bomb, or that they may be already. There's other dangers here. Trump now says he might wait for 2 weeks. Well, you can't trust anything Trump says because he lies all the time. And he might be trying to lull the Iranians back into, not being as vigilant as they should be. But there's other ways that the U.S. will get involved. Trump has said if our U.S. assets in the region get attacked, the United States will come in. I'm worried about Mossad Israeli intelligence pulling a false flag operation and striking an American facility in the region and blaming it on the Iranians. That's something very much within Israel's capability. So there's a lot of ways that this could spiral out of control. And there's also logically the possibility that Israel will say Iran poses such an existential threat. Trump knew that. You also saw what the G7 said. They said that Israel has a right to self-defense and that Iran is the instigator in this situation. Merritt said that Israel is doing all of our dirty work by attacking Iran. Trump said that it's excellent what Israel is doing. So I don't think that these people are honest brokers in this situation. I think we need to get others to intervene. India should be a mediator. Russia, China, these could be mediators who could be trusted. I don't trust France, Germany, United States, to pull this off. The Brits know. I'm afraid that it's not going to come to any solution that the Iranians can accept. Right, Mr. Kanik. Some very valid points there, but of course we'll have to wait and see how the situation develops in West Asia. But for now, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your perspective with us. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.